he asks the question, can machines think? It wasn't just about assembling computers, but also understanding the logic.
I used to have my PC just open, playing games, watching movies, replacing RAM, to actually going into computer science.
We moved on to the intelligent age, where the machines are able to think rationally, to act humanly, and to think humanly.
I actually like the problems that are also getting solved. There's real problems that affect real people.
They deliver medicine, medical supplies, blood to villages in local communities using drones.
AI is going to assist us in moving to the next chapter, being more innovative and new jobs getting created.
Imagine how it started as an SMS tool, and now it's a unicorn. More than $1 billion fintech giant. 70% of the IT skills expire in 5 years. Because of the way the technology changes at warp speed. So technology changes everything. You need to upskill. Otherwise, you'll be left behind. And the rest is history.
Hello, and welcome to Coding Culture, a podcast all about technology, innovation, and cutting-edge practices that are revolutionizing our digital space. I'm your host, Khang, and if you still cannot pronounce it, you can still call me K-Gang. Today, I'll be joined by Dr. Steven for an interesting and insightful conversation. But before we jump in, there's a huge announcement that I will be making throughout the podcast. So stay tuned, and I promise you will not regret it. Dr. Steven, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kang.
How are you? How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
It's great to be here with you. I think I looked at your CV and I looked into you. And as I was looking at that, I was just looking at your career and how you tried different things and moved in different spaces. Can you just tell us more about your journey?
Yeah, thank you. So where do I start? In terms of the journey, actually people don't know about this, but I started on the ground floor, fixing computers, troubleshooting networks, doing system administration work, but on the technical side. Yeah. So it wasn't just about assembling computers, but also understanding the logic. Okay, so you assemble the hardware, but obviously you have to understand how that links to the software and so on. So I was in charge of the system administration on the entire network, just on the ground floor. But people don't know about that.
It's a lifetime ago. I'm guessing.
So but then as I was doing that, I was really fascinated by the back end stuff in terms of the science of computers. So then I wanted to study more about computer science, right? So that's when the interest began. And I did a lot of research. I started to do a lot of research, and that led me to Alan Turing. Alan Turing, whom many refer as the father of artificial intelligence. So I devoured his work. I remember one of his works that had a deep impression on me was the paper that he published in 1936, called on Computable Numbers.
Yes.
In 1936. And in that paper, he talks about the universal machine. That was fascinating, which laid the groundwork for the modern computers. And it's really fascinating. And then I did a lot of research. There's also another paper that he published in 1950 called Computing Machinery and Intelligence. In that publication, he asks the question, can machines think? That was the first time that we had that question. It was fascinating. And that set the ball rolling for, most of the innovations and the breakthroughs in computer science and artificial intelligence. That question alone. So that inspired me. And then I joined computer science. I joined my master's. I did my master's, and my research focused on border gateway protocol, which is an algorithm that routes all the global internet traffic. So think about, you send an email, to someone. How does it go to the intended destination? So there's an algorithm that routes all that traffic on the internet. So I studied all that because I went more into algorithms, into building intelligent machines and so on, inspired by the work of Alan Turing. So then I had to create an alternative algorithm that performed better than the existing one based on specific metrics and parameters. And that formed the backbone of my thesis. Then I wanted to take that further. So I went to do my PhD, my doctorate in computer science. And I was so focused on heuristics. Heuristics, in simple terms, these are like algorithms that design new algorithms. So that's an AI frontier. And in many ways, it created the scaffolding for super intelligence and most of the innovations that we see now in artificial intelligence and the advancements and the breakthroughs. So, and the rest is history.
That's the journey.
That's my journey.
As you were talking there, that's a very interesting part. You just reminded me of my days where I used to have my PC just open, playing games, watching movies, replacing RAM, to actually going into computer science there. So I think your journey from networking to actual PCs fixing to the back end is very interesting. I think you mentioned that, like, as we're talking, I hear a lot of AI in what you've spoken about. I think, and as I was looking into you, I was just wondering what inspires you around AI and what it can do in an African context.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, from my background, when I did a lot of research in AI, so I was also fascinated by the potential of AI to, sort of intractable problems, because when you study AI, and just know that now we are transitioning into what we call the intelligent age, moving away from the digital age, the digital revolution. The World Economic Forum, which ended last week.
Okay.
Do you know what the theme was?
No, I think you can enlighten me right there.
Collaboration for the intelligent age. Now, so it's calling it. So in other words, we've moved on to the intelligent age, where the machines are able to think rationally, to act humanly, and to think humanly. Previously, we had machines just acting rationally, but now they are thinking rationally. They are thinking humanly. They are acting humanly. All those are different aspects of intelligent agents and in artificial intelligence. So we are in the intelligent age now, and that's why it becomes very important. But then AI plays a crucial role there because of its potential to solve the intractable problems, the most pressing issues that we have now in Africa, if you think about it, whether it's your healthcare gaps, the energy shortages, the issues to do with agriculture.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot. The problem space, I think, is diverse.
Yeah. So agriculture issues as well, because 60% of Africans are smallholder farmers. Okay. So which means, that's an opportunity for us in terms of AI. How do we leverage AI and build innovative solutions that can solve our own problems, African problems, contextualized in the African culture, and so on. We need those solutions.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And then the other point is around data, because people talk about the AI bias and all these things.
Yes.
But I mean, 2% of the AI, global training data comes from Africa. Okay. So which means the majority of the training data, does not come from Africa.
Yeah.
So then why do you even talk about AI bias? So that's an opportunity for us to build solutions, AI applications and systems and solutions based on our own data that understand the culture, the languages. About more than 500 languages do not have digitalized data sets in Africa. So AI systems are starved of African data.
That is very interesting.
So all these challenges and obstacles, for me, I see them as catalysts for innovation.
Yeah.
And it's the AI that can, stand in the gap and help us to address these the most pressing issues that we have on the continent.
Okay. So I think around the data issue, around the training models that will have the context-specific data for Africa, are there any examples maybe of some models or some application that are very Africa-centric and have used some of the data and are solving real problems for us?
Absolutely. There are lots of solutions that we have on the continent, although not enough. But if you think about Zipline, I think that's an AI solution. I think in Ghana and Rwanda, they deliver medicine, medical supplies, blood to villages in local communities using drones. And which is really interesting. And they managed to reduce the delivery time from 4 hours to about less than 30 minutes.
Oof, nice.
And they have cut maternal, mortality rates by 88%. So those are, we have fascinating solutions on the continent. Again, beating bad roads, delivering using drones.
Yes.
So in other words, the problems that we have, again, don't see them as obstacles. Those are like innovation catalysts. Then you become more creative, more innovative, come up with solutions that are local. And then obviously, M-Pesa.
Yes.
M-Pesa, they turned a mobile phone into a bank, So you have actually M-Pesa, the annual transactions, they are 3 times more than the GDP of Kenya annually. Really interesting. Those are interesting solutions. And it's a unicorn now. And you can imagine how it started as an SMS tool. And now it's a unicorn. More than $1 billion fintech giant. So those are interesting examples. There's also I think in Ghana there's Minds.io. There's another AI solution that does the credit scoring. It scores creditworthiness of most people are unbanked.
Yes.
On the continent.
Okay.
So it collects data, from their airtime purchases, mobile money transactions, and even social data. So it collects all that data, and it's managed to process loans for more than 10 million, more than 10 million people loans, just, by getting, their profile, their data. And these are unbanked. These are people, they have no formal financial history at all. Okay. And then because of that, it's been able to connect 5 million people to formal banking. Okay. So you can see the impact, the solutions that we have.
Yes.
Although there's still a lot to do.
To grow.
And then another one is the Apollo in the agriculture sector in Kenya is doing having a significant impact there as well, providing specific advice to farmers using AI, using satellite data and machine learning. And, in terms of the crops, when to plant and, giving them like specific information. And it's been able to boost crop yields by 50%. Okay. So really interesting solutions that we see on the continent.
Definitely.
And there's still a lot to do.
I actually like the problems that are also getting solved. There's real problems that affect real people. So I think I like a phrase that you used there where you said, don't look at it as a problem, it's an innovation catalyst. So that just makes me want to jump into the next step of the conversation a little bit around young people and their careers and how they can leverage maybe some of these tools to expedite their career growth, like to look at the problems that are there and like basically grow. What advice would you have for young people to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, if you look at Africa now, about 60% of Africans are less than 25. Okay. And then by 2035, 450 million people will join the workforce. That's in Africa. So that's a fascinating advantage that we have as a continent. And these are digital natives, right? So, however, we have a talent gap, because I think less than 5%, Africa has less than 5% of the global AI talent. Okay, so that is a problem. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're giving the young people the right skills. Okay, so that's very important, because when they don't have skills, then they cannot have any impact.
Definitely.
And also the skills that we give them, because also 70% of the IT skills expire in 5 years, because of the way the technology changes at warp speed. So it's very important that we keep upskilling. We give the right skills. We create, talent, build talent on the continent. That's very important. That's what we are doing at Richfield.
Yes.
Because all this that I've talked about, the AI, the innovation, we poured into Richfield.
There's something
to build talent, the relevant talent for the continent to lead the tech revolution. So it's about skilling, and also for young people, they must also understand the context, right? If they are creating solutions, always make sure that you understand the context. Don't ignore the cultural nuances. Okay, the context is king. Because more than 65% of the top tech startups in Africa, they sort of hyper local programs, right? So then also look at the problems that we have, the most pressing issues, whether in health, in healthcare, in agriculture, in energy. So look for local problems. So that's the advice that I can give to young people. And you solve local problems, and that's how M-Pesa started on with the street vendors.
Yes.
Street vendors.
Solve the problem that you know.
Solve
the problem that you know.
So it's not like you don't sit in New York and then you're creating solutions here on the ground. That it it can create a disconnect. But M-Pesa started with the street vendors in Nairobi. And so you understand the local context, the community, the problems, and then you build solutions that talk to the problems on the ground.
Got it. Thanks for that. Speaking of skills, I did mention earlier on that we got an announcement that we would like to make. I think everybody would love this. So there's a conference. It's called DevConf. It's in Johannesburg in May. So as a part of this, we'll be offering a ticket to one lucky winner who will be answering a question later on during the podcast. So I think keep paying attention and you should be able to answer the question easily enough. But without any further ado, let's get back to the podcast a little bit. You mentioned something there where you said the skills expire or within 5 years. So as somebody now, as a young person hearing that and thinking I'll be acquiring all this knowledge and I'll constantly have to change it and think that that's a drawback instead of looking at it maybe as an opportunity, what would you say to that person?
I think, yes, it's an opportunity. You're absolutely right. So, because like I said, 70% of the IT skills expire in 5 years. So technology changes, everything changes. You need to upskill. Otherwise you'll be left behind. People talk about AI taking jobs and all these things. So I think it's about upskilling, because if you don't, if you stand still in IT, you're sinking. Okay,
definitely.
So, because everything changes at warp speed, so it's very important that also you keep pace. You keep improving yourself as well in terms of the skills, because the problems also evolve. So your skills must evolve as well. So I think AI, in terms of those fears of jobs and all that, the AI is rewriting the job descriptions. Okay. The existing jobs are edited, based on like I said, the problems are changing. So we need new solutions, right? So that's why you need also your skills must evolve as well, to make sure that you're current, you're able to solve the complex problems that we have now. Yeah.
Got it. I think everybody heard the fear of losing your job there. Like, I think AI is going to assist us in moving to the next chapter, being more innovative and new jobs getting created. So that is amazing. So I think...
yeah. So by the way, also, there are jobs definitely that will be lost. I just want to make that absolutely clear. Okay. For example, repetitive tasks. I think by 2030, you see about 25% repetitive task will be completed, will be gone. However, World Economic Forum says, I think by 2030, we also have about like 70 million jobs that will be created through AI. So in other words, like I said, it's rewriting job descriptions, creating new roles that are not there. Think about like M-Pesa, for example. It did not kill bankers, but it created fintech developers. Okay, it created API developers. It created data analysts. It created those roles were not there. Okay, it created those agents there and created more opportunities and more jobs. All right, so I think we need really to understand this because people, they fear that all jobs are gone, but there are lots of opportunities that are being created by AI. Okay, and so it's about what skills, how do you position yourself in the intelligent age, for you to, to be useful and to take advantage of these opportunities.
Okay. Thank you for that. I think that will alleviate some fears. People maybe will start seeing opportunities instead of disaster.
Yes.
And I think right now, Dr. Stephen has given us quite a bit, some things to chew on, some things to deep dive on. So in terms of the question that we want to ask, it's going to be a very simple question. We come from the digital age, and Dr. Stephen mentioned a specific age that we're in. What is that age? I repeat, we come from the digital age. Right now, we are in a specific age. Specify what that is. Go to the comment section, write out the answer for a chance to win a ticket to DevConf. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the Coding Culture. Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating. Just want to thank the good doctor for his time, sharing his expertise, and I hope everybody had a great time in this episode. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.